Welcome in, Texas. This is Pigskin and Burn Ends with me, IndyCarTim, where all the takes are hot and the brisket's hotter. The third-ranked Texas A&M Aggies stay perfect. Texas Tech drops a top 10 anvil on BYU. Houston escapes the bounce house. SMU avoids the letdown, and TCU gets stung by special teams. Plate it up, folks. We're cutting into all of it right here on Pigskin and Burnt Ends. What a weekend it was of Pigskin and Burnt Ends and Texas college football. On the menu for today, all of the highlights. Marcel Reed cooks, Rueben Owens closes, Mike Elko talks big ceilings. Tech's defense smothers again. The Cougars win ugly. The Mustangs light up the red bandana game, and TCU season hopes take a hit. Rate, review, hit subscribe. Let's talk the first course of Texas college football here on Pigskin and Burn Ends. Texas A&M 37, Missouri 17. The Aggies keep the undefeated season briskly smoking at 9-0. 6-0 in the SEC. They're number 3 in the college football playoff poll. Marcel Reed had 221 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Aggies defense absolutely hounded Matt Zollers in his first career start, holding him to 7 of 22 for 77 yards, 2 sacks, and a fumble that absolutely flipped the game. The turning point was right before the half. Damian Sanford blitzed, knocked the ball out. Dalton Brooks scooped it up and rumbled it back close to the end zone to set up E.J. Smith for the touchdown plunge. From there, Reed hit Casey's Concepcion on a beautiful timed screenplay for 48 yards against a blitz to make it 21-0 right after halftime. That sequence right there absolutely broke Missouri's back. Rueben Owens iced it with 102 yards and 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns. And if you listened to Mike Elko in the postgame, he just said that performance is what the Texas A&M program is fully capable of. He talked about the ceiling of the program being even higher than where they're at now. And you know what? I don't think that's just coach speak. I think that's a team leaning into a November with an identity, a relentless defense, patience with the run, and with timely explosives. But, credit to Missouri's ground game. Jamal Roberts had 110 yards and a touchdown. Ahmad Hardy, 109 and a TD. But the pass game just was not there. Eli Drinkwitz said it, quote, "That's one of the toughest locker rooms we believed we were going to win," end quote. Yeah, they fought the Aggies a little bit, but they did not nearly have enough. Pressure won it late, even with 8 penalties for 65 yards. And Texas A&M was absolutely just too much for the then number 17 ranked Missouri Tigers. And the Aggies now will continue their quest for the undefeated season. South Carolina, you know what, Aggies, handle your business and keep stacking college football playoff equity. Also in top 10 play, the number 9 Texas Tech Red Raiders, 29 over the then number 8 BYU Cougars 7, 29-7. As I don't know that anybody expected this out of the Texas Tech defense, or I guess you could say they didn't expect this out of the BYU offense, as Tech just dominated this one-sided top 10 fight. BYU previously unbeaten. I really expected them to be a much tougher matchup than this, especially at home. At home, Stone Harrington sets a school record 5 field goals from 47, 39, 34, 29, and 27. He was automatic all night. The offense stayed on schedule with Baron Morton back under center, 216 yards with a 9-yard touchdown to Caleb Douglas. Cameron Dickey dominated, 121 yards and a score. And how about the Tech defense? Maybe outshining at some points the Texas Tech offense. I won't say the first time in program history, but that's not what we're used to seeing in the last couple of decades in Lubbock. An absolute chokehold on BYU, held to 255 total yards. That's a season low for them. Jacob Rodriguez with all the momentum plays, a third quarter interception, led to Harrington's fourth kick, and then a late backwards pass recovery to set up the final points. And that, my friends, is how you close down a top 10 team on defense. Bear Bachmeier went 23 of 38 for 188 yards and a late touchdown, but the two giveaways hurt his team dramatically. Starback LJ Martin was bottled to just 35 yards on 10 carries. Tech then heat checked him at the line of scrimmage all night. They had nowhere to go. Why does this matter so much? Well, it's the first top 10 scalp of this magnitude for the Red Raiders since 2008. It keeps the Big 12 title path wide open as UCF heads to Lubbock next with a chance to cap an unbeaten home slate for the first time since 1995. Jones AT&T Stadium is going to be rowdy. And that's not a guess. That's a fact, folks. Houston 30, UCF 27 as we stay in Big 12 play. The Cougars leave Orlando with a win and a warning, 4 turnovers, and still a 30-27 road W. Connor Wigman was chaos personified, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, plus 82 rushing yards on 22 carries that saved multiple drives. Latravion McCutcheon jumped a route for a 45-yard pick 6 for the Cougs. The tie late in the game, the O-line and backs DJ Butler and Sean Connors smashed a 15-play, 62-yard closing drive capped by Ethan Sanchez from 22 yards out. With 11 seconds left, Kentrell Webb sealed it with his first career interception. A clutch play for Webb. Back-to-back weeks with 3 Wigman giveaways, though, is not good. That is something that desperately needs to be cleaned up. But the defense, red zone composure, and the trench finished a travel game here. 8-2 now are the Cougs, 5-2 in the conference, and a bye before TCU on November 22nd coming up. A big game for both teams, for sure. Let's head to some ACC action as SMU hits the road to head to the Northeast to face Boston College. SMU on top, 45-13. No letdown for the Mustangs after that big Miami win. Kevin Jennings dials up 326 yards, 3 touchdowns. Derek Mafal adds 3 rushing scores, and that is a 45-13 thumping on BC's red bandana game. A powerful tribute to Wells Crowther. Rhett Lashley with the thesis. He said college football has turned into a game of explosive plays. If you're explosive and you can run it, you control the game, end quote. And SMU did both. The backbreakers were a 61-yard strike to Ymir Knight and a 37-yard bomb to Matthew Hibner before halftime. Defense stays takeaway happy, and the Mustangs are suddenly an ACC chaos agent with number 14 Louisville coming into town on November 22nd. SMU not able to match, of course, their undefeated ACC run that they had last year in their first year in the conference, thanks to that just inexplicable loss to Wake Forest. But, man, it seems like they've got things back on track now with big wins over Miami and now Boston College as they prep for Louisville. Louisville or Louisville? That's how I hear people up there say it. Kind of makes me gag a little back in the back of your throat when you say it like that. Louisville. I can't even do it without gagging. Not going to do it. Back to Big 12 play as Iowa State over TCU 20-17 in a game I did not see coming for the Horned Frogs. TCU's coming off a bye, and they get absolutely snake-bitten by their special teams in a 20-17 loss. Early picks from Josh Hoover, a missed short field goal, and then when they finally seize control, 11 unanswered in the fourth, it just unravels. Back-to-back gut punches. Carson Henson punches in a score. Defense forces a 3-and-out, and they walk on Aiden Flora. Houses a 79-yard punt return. Sonny Dykes said they outkicked the coverage, a common term, and that's the difference in a tight one here for the Horned Frogs. The bright side is the defense fought. Rocco Beck was only 9 for 23 with 111 yards and 2 picks, both to Bud Clark, who had 6 tackles, but 8 for 16 on third down and 2 for 3 on fourth down kept the Cyclones keeping TCU on the field too long with that loss. The Big 12 title hopes are, of course, basically toast. 2 left to salvage momentum and fix these self-inflicted wounds for the Horned Frogs. Just a season unraveling before their eyes. And I know, playoffs were a long shot for those boys, but you cannot have losses like this to Iowa State. And look, Iowa State we thought was going to be up near the top of the Big 12 this year. They themselves have come unraveled as the season has gone on. TCU could not take advantage of that for sure. Let's talk a little bit about the Big 12 awards, because we had several teams here in the Big 12 awards presentation for Week 11, as Texas Tech runs away with the headlines, along with Iowa State, Arizona, UCF, and West Virginia all sharing some of that spotlight. Texas Tech set the pace in the Big 12's Week 11 football awards, claiming 4 honors and the defensive line of the week, as the Red Raiders and Iowa State joined Arizona, UCF, and West Virginia as this week's standouts. Arizona running back Quincy Craig and Texas Tech's Cameron Dickey split Offensive Player of the Week after clutch workmanlike efforts in statement wins. Craig needed only 5 touches to change Arizona's 24-20 game against Kansas, scoring twice, including the 24-yard game winner with just 39 ticks left. His receiving score also rode shotgun with program history, as Noah Fafita tied the Wildcats' career passing TD record at 67. Dickey bludgeoned BYU with 23 carries for 121 yards and a touchdown, moving atop the Big 12 rushing chart. With 867 yards on the season and 11 rushing TDs, Dickey is tracking to become just the 9th Red Raider to eclipse 1,000 yards in a single year. On defense, UCF's Phillip Dunham authored a first in Knights history with 3 interceptions in one game, snatching passes from Houston after Cougars quarterback Connor Wigman had thrown only 4 picks all season. Texas Tech linebacker Jacob Rodriguez repeated as Defensive Player of the Week and collected his 3rd this season by filling the stat sheet in the Red Raiders' 29-7 win over BYU. 14 tackles, an interception, and a fumble recovery for J-Rod. Are we allowed to call him that? J-Rod? I hate when we short names like that, so I'm not going to do it. I take it all back. I didn't say J-Rod. I said Jacob Rodriguez, who, by the way, is already the nation's leader in forced fumbles. He became the first FBS player since 2013 to post at least 5 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, and 2 fumble recoveries in the same season. Special teams swung results, too. We just talked about it. Iowa State's Aiden Flora housed a 79-yard punt return in the 4th quarter to beat TCU, the Cyclones' first punt return touchdown since 2017. He is averaging a blistering 41.4 yards per return. Texas Tech kicker Stone Harrington repeated as Special Teams Player of the Week after drilling a school record 5 field goals from 27, 29, 34, 39, and 47 in the BYU win. It's easy for me to say, joining a short list of FBS kickers with 5+ makes in a game this season. West Virginia redshirt freshman Dior Hubbard claimed Freshman of the Week with 158 all-purpose yards in a 29-22 victory over Colorado, including the Mountaineers' longest play from scrimmage this season on a 69-yard reception. In the trenches, Iowa State earned Offensive Line of the Week by paving a 161-yard rushing day and allowing just 1 sack, while Texas Tech captured Defensive Line of the Week after holding the then top 10 Cougars to 7 points, 67 rushing yards, and 188 passing yards with a sack of Bear Bachmeier. So what are our biggest takeaways this week, boys and girls? And yes, we did have a number of teams that were on byes. Obviously, Baylor, North Texas, we did not get into any of their action. We will be happy to talk about those boys coming up again next week on Pigskin and Burn Ends. But let's talk about some of the takeaways here for the Aggies. Their November DNA has been defense and did I just say defense? Good God. Defense and patience. You got to keep feeding Owens late. You got to protect Marcel Reed to keep his confidence up, and those boys are going to roll. For the Red Raiders, they're on a title game trajectory. Harrington's reliability changes the in-game math. Rodriguez is a burgeoning star for the Cougars. You got to clean up the turnovers, and you can be scary once again. Your identity takeaways, a crunch time ground game. All of those things will benefit you. You got to get Connor Wigman back on track, though. For the Mustangs, explosive passes plus the run game equals an ACC spoiler for somebody. Louisville on the calendar is circled in red right now. And for TCU, special teams focus week, you cannot gift hidden yards and expect to survive one-score grinders. That is enough of that. They have got to get back on track and again, I don't know what kind of run you're going to make, but you got to end the season on a positive note for sure. So that is the plate on Pigskin and Burnt Ends this week, you guys. Meat sweats, victory laps across the Lone Star State. Drop your team's hottest takeaway in the comments and tell me which unit impressed you the most this weekend. Was it the Aggies front, Texas Tech's defense, Cougars late game juice, or SMU's fireworks? I am IndyCarTim. This is Pigskin and Burnt Ends. Make sure you subscribe, share with your college football crew, and I will see you at the pit next time here on Pigskin and Burnt Ends. Until next time, boys and girls, we'll see you.